welcome to another episode of Pop.vox.presents. I'm Phil Vecchio, and tonight we have a special treat. With me is Vic-20. How's it going?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing so excellent. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Now, as always, before we get into it, I have to remind everyone I also am being joined by my lovely wife, Janelle.
Hello.
Janelle is running things behind the scenes, and she'll be operating the chat in the live stream. So if you have any comments or questions for Vic-20, please make sure to drop them in there, and she'll be telling us what's going on. Maybe we'll have a chance to respond to some live.
Well, Justin's already in here.
Welcome, Justin.
His love.
Excellent.
Hey, Justin. That's my keyboard buddy.
Oh, is it really? Oh, nice. Well, thanks for being here, Justin. That's cool. So, Vic-20, a.k.a. Greg, when you're not wearing the Tron helmet is what I understand.
Yeah,
there it is.
Something like
excellent. Man, I'm so excited to have you here. I found out about the Vic-20 project right when Home Computer Age came out. But I was familiar with your music for a long time, probably from like high school with Prodigal Sons. And super cool to have you still doing music now. How did you get started on Vic-20? Tell us a little bit about the origins of this project.
Around 2000, it's like 15 or so. The whole genre kind of was a little before that, but it started getting more popular around then. And I was digging a lot of the artists that were coming out, and like Miami Nights or Miami 1984 and Time Cop and groups like that. I mean, even like Daft Punk, the whole French Connection things, happening already, and was really into all that. And so when I heard this music, I was already kind of like, hey, I grew up listening to bands like New Order and Depeche Mode, and this is kind of the same vibe, just, a little more modernized.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was always in my DNA. When I first started doing music, my parents bought me like I guess it was like 84, 85. Bought me like a little Yamaha Porta Studio with little speakers built in, a little drum machine. And so I would sit and play like, figure out melodies for like Depeche Mode and Pet Shop Boys songs and play along with them. And so my parents or my mom was like, oh, you have your grandmother's skills. She reads or she plays by ear. Like, oh, cool, whatever that means, And then, and so that's kind of how I got into music. And then, fast forward, a few years, met JR, and we started a band in high school called Resolution with a couple of guys, my buddy Neil and my buddy Shay. And we played high school talent shows and won the talent show and won the gong show. And then we started playing music like in clubs around Dallas and Fort Worth. And we're doing mostly like cover songs of like those same bands I've mentioned. And then quit doing that. And around the 90s got into like rave music, like hard techno music. And that's kind of when we started Prodigal Sons, JR and I, and then later added Chris White as a DJ to the band, and started doing, illegal warehouse parties in Fort Worth and Arlington and all around, the Metroplex. And then when we got signed, we met people like in California and other places. Illinois, went to Cornerstone, played that every year for a while, and just did that whole rave circuit. And sometimes we got paid, sometimes we didn't get paid. Just, you're there for the vibe, like the don't play your music. I remember the first rave we ever did in Los Angeles, there was like this huge sound system, probably like 100,000 watts of sound. And I would make all my music in my bedroom at my house, my parents' house. And so you like hear it on your little speakers and then go to like an event like that and be like, wow, this is really cool. So I guess, and then transitioning from Prodigal Sons, got married and we all kind of laid the band down, went our separate ways. And then I started doing music again back in like 2007 or so, and just started doing like some instrumental electronic music that kind of didn't go anywhere. I was just kind of like doing it for fun. And then around 2017, I put out my first album under Vic-20 called Summer Endless. And then a couple years later, Home Computer Age. And then this year, at the end of the year, there we go. Very cool.
Just for the fans at home there.
And then later this year, I'm putting out a new album called North Hills Mall, which is the mall. The mall that I met my wife at, actually. And every weekend we were at that mall just walking around every square inch of the mall over and over. We're like the mall walkers for mall walkers, but we had like mohawks and bleach blonde hair, and we're all black.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But and a lot of good memories there, and meeting friends, and some friends I still have to this day, and chasing girls. And of course I met my wife. I was working at a food place in the food court, and then she was working at Limited, and she would come and get food, and I'd always give her extra food on her plate because thought she was cute. And at the time she had a boyfriend, and we met at a New Year's party a little before that, and I was wearing a New Order shirt and Prodigal Sons were playing, and her boyfriend was like, oh, he looks cool, let's go talk to him. So that's like the first time I ever met her. And then later that year they broke up, and I was met her I went into Camelot Music, and she was in there like digging through records.
Oh.
And they were like, hey, what are you doing tonight? And she was like, nothing. I was like, do you want to go to a hockey game? She's like, sure, I've never been to one before. And that's kind of how we started dating and met for started dating, I guess. And so North Hills Mall is coming out later this year, and it's kind of a themed album a little bit. I'm going to have some friends that hung out back in the day with us doing like little interviews, like sharing stories from that time, and how important the mall was to 80s kids, the arcade and the movies, and just a place to go socialize, before there was cell phones and the internet, and you had to go somewhere to like, oh, hi, there's people here,
That's so cool. That's something that I've really, really enjoyed about all of your stuff as Vic-20 is just that like intense nostalgia that it brings up. Like I feel like I'm at a birthday party in the 80s in an arcade, or I don't know, watching Ralph Macchio and Elizabeth Shue at the golf and stuff, or I don't know, it just brings all these feels back, and it's so much fun.
I love it.
Do you I have a question. I guess it's a song that's coming up later, but just you always, all the way back from like Prodigal Son, there's all kinds of fun little like samples and things that I love trying to like detect and figure out. Is there, okay, so in the song, we're gonna have it a little bit later, but it's Suburban Teen Dreams, I believe it's called.
Yes.
Is there a movie that some of those quotes are pulled from? Are those people, I could not figure it out. What is that from?
Okay, well, the first couple that talks in the beginning, that's actually my daughter and son-in-law.
Oh, that's amazing.
I wrote them a little script, and I was gonna do it or figure it out somehow. And then I was like, oh, hey, I'll just ask if they want to do it. And they're like, yeah, we'd love to do it. And so they recorded themselves on their phone and sent the file back to me, and I put reverb and stuff on it and fit into the song. And then the sample in the middle of the song when it drops, that's actually from what's the movie called? But that one is from a movie. I'll think of it in a little bit.
Okay, you can tell me. I just felt like familiar, so it's perfect. It's not those things, but it feels like it brings up those feelings of being a kid in the 80s,
Yeah, I mean, the whole 80s was all about emerging technology, I called the album Home Computer Age because when I was a kid, I had a little small Magnavox TV in my room. And then at some point I got cable in my room, and then I was watching movies and, probably some things I shouldn't have been watching, like, Monty Python or whatever. But, and then later, getting like an Atari 2600, and then I got a ColecoVision, which is my all-time favorite video game system. And then I was dead set on getting the Atom computer from Coleco. But it got delayed a couple of times, and I ended up getting a Commodore 64 instead. And so I had like a computer in my bedroom and a floppy disk drive. And, if you see a movie like War Games, you're thinking like, man, I can do anything with this computer. I can hack into the NORAD and, launch nukes.
So did you ever actually have a VIC-20?
No.
Okay.
And that's interesting with that story because I thought like, well, I don't want to be called C64 or Commodore 64. And then when I thought of VIC-20, because I had friends that had VIC-20s and played with them at Sears or computer stores, and I knew it was like the first like affordable home computer that ever came out, because they were always like kind of unreachable for most families to afford one. And I think it was like $199 or something like that, which in 81 or whenever that came out,
was
still
a lot.
change. Yeah. So I thought Vic-20, that's kind of cool. That's, that sounds more like a person or like a mystery guy or
Right.
on a grid or something, as opposed to like, hey, let's listen to C64.
Yeah, that was a good call. Our
And
first home. Oh, say again.
Us coming up with band names is absolutely like the hardest thing. Like doing the music's easy, to a certain extent, but like coming up with like a band name and sticking to it is kind of hard.
Our first home computer that we had was an old Radio Shack. My dad had that actually ran on cassette tapes, and I remember sitting on his lap and he'd put in a program on a cassette tape. So I just love old. And then we upgraded to an Apple II Plus after that.
Was it a TRS-80?
It could have been. I don't remember.
Your dad's in
Oh,
the
my
chat.
dad's in the chat. I'll tell you what, we've got a couple questions in the chat, including my dad who's chiming in on the computer discussion.
Oh, very cool.
So let's go to some of that and we can clarify some of this here.
Okay.
Or what do we got here, Janelle?
First of all, since you guys were talking about the mall, JR said North Hills Mall was our domain.
Nice.
Yes.
And then Justin said Luby's, Radio Shack, and the arcade for me at that mall. So, and he also bought my speakers and stereo that I still use today at the Service Merchandise across the street. I just have to say, I loved Service Merchandise. Like going in there and it was like you couldn't touch anything and you had to like put in a code or something to order it. It was a really great place.
Yeah, you had to go pick it up in a different room, and it came down like a conveyor belt.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, kids today don't know the glory of old retail.
No idea.
Right. And then Tony, Phil's dad.
That's my dad.
He said, "Did I hear the Gong Show? There must be a cool story there."
You won the Gong Show, you said at some point.
Well, yeah, it was a high school talent competition. They called it the Gong Show.
Okay.
So the principal Renserling had the gong, and so he'd gong you out if you didn't like your music. And so we were up against a lot of metal hair bands, and so he was like gonging those guys out, like, "Get out of here, you freaks!" And we come up and we're all like on keyboards, all and he's like, "Hey, it's kind of nice." So we sing the Gong Show, yeah. So something like that. JR, correct me if I'm wrong. JR will have a better remembrance of that probably.
And Tony did say, yes, I had a Trash 80 with 16K.
Oh, yeah.
A computer.
Yeah, that's the computer, because that was like the nickname.
A Trash 80?
Trash 80.
Yeah.
Oh. And, people are watching from all over and chiming in, but those were the highlights.
Thus far. Okay, excellent. Quite a few people. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Keep throwing questions in there, and Janelle will keep us posted there.
Oh, and JR says you are correct.
Oh, about the Gong Show.
About the Gong Show.
Yeah.
We were the best.
Better than all those metal bands.
I have a picture somewhere. We actually won the Battle of the Bands. And I have a picture of the four of us in my parents' bedroom, and we're all like, have these huge smiles on our faces because we're holding a check. I think we won I think it was like $500 or something.
Whoa.
We split 4 ways.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
My band in junior high entered a Battle of the Bands, and we thought we were like so good. And it turned out like we played in this gymnasium. And so to us on stage, we thought like we sounded amazing, but the home video, all you can just hear is echoes. You can hear nothing of it at all. So we never got to win anything. So a quarter of $500 that's not bad. That's 125,
I have a funny story about the Battle of the Band. So we did like a New Order cover of the song Blue Monday. And so I go up to sing my one song. Shay was our lead singer, but the New Order stuff I would sing because, I'm still like a huge New Order fan. And so I didn't own a bass guitar at the time, but there's bass guitar in the song. So I borrowed a bass from one of the metal bands and literally went up on stage and was like, started speaking and said something really dumb and then tried to play the bass. And, it was really dumb of me to grab a bass and think I'm going to go up there and figure out how to play Blue Monday real quick in front of hundreds of kids, or whatever. And so, yeah, it's kind of funny, just the stuff that we would do. And of course, I was in a gymnasium. I'm sure it sounded awful.
Right. Not designed for music.
No.
At all. Man, well, I also wanted to show off, speaking of old computers and technology, just my favorite piece of merch in recent years that I got was this from you. Speaking of old computers, is this great old floppy disk here. Now, I don't believe the album is actually on this. Is that correct? It's just a cool. I don't have anything to test it on. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I had people contact me like, "Is there supposed to be something on here?" And it's like, no, it's just like a memorabilia or
That's good because I don't have anything to play it back on anymore.
Which is shocking for Phil because he has a lot of old technology.
I have a lot of dead media. That's true, but I don't have any floppy drives around anymore, so I had to give that up.
Kind of hard to obtain.
Yeah, well, it is, and it's not. It's not practical anymore, but it sure is fun to have that around. I mean, we had the Apple II Plus, the big, I can't remember what they were, but the large floppy disks.
Yeah, the big ones. The quarter, whatever they're,
5 1/4 or something like that. Yeah. Those, I mean, to me back then, because my dad was actually a computer teacher for a while at an elementary school. And so he would get like all these programs and, back then everyone was like just copying. So he'd bring home all these like copied discs that all these people would swap and we'd pop them in and see what games we got. And man, very different.
I remember doing that too. We had Commodore PET computers at my junior high, I guess at the time. And whenever you get to go to a computer class, I mean, you felt like, again, nostalgia, you feel like, man, I'm like on a computer and there's nothing I can't do here, like just that feeling of like, power and like, and of course, it's kind of like glorified in movies and stuff, like Matthew Broderick and movies and stuff. But I mean, just having a computer in your home was like, and of course the song CES 91 is full of that nostalgia of all the TV programs and commercials and news reports that I sampled and put together. And that was an undertaking trying to get all that to work and match levels and EQing and everything. So, but I've had so many comments about that song, just like that they put that in. And there's a lot of people that are like computer buffs that have found my music too. I guess because of Vic-20, they're like, oh, what's this music guy? Vic-20, check this out. The people will contact me and show like, oh, I'm listening to your cassette tape and here's all my computers everywhere in the room. And that's like really cool to me. I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Our kids have really gotten into your music since we started getting it. And so for a while when they would request it in the car, because we let them make their music requests. I don't have to like always dictate the music in the car. And they would be like, put that computer one on again. What's the computer one? So I think now after tonight, they'll for sure remember the name Vic-20, but up until this point, I think you were known as the computer music. So, which I think is fitting.
I am a computer.
You are a computer. Well, with that, with the Tron helmet and all that stuff, the lines are blurred. So
hopefully the battery comes back there.
Hopefully. Well, I saw a couple more things pop up. Anything else we need to know?
So, JR said next album is coming out on mini disc.
Mini disc.
And our kids are commenting as me. But it says now we use computers for live streams.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. See, again, you can do anything. You can reach out to the whole world. It's fantastic. Excellent.
All the pommeters.
Well, speaking of all your amazing music, I think it might be time to get to some tunes here. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right. So we have a couple cool things. We're going to have a live performance from Vic-20, and then we've got a couple videos that we're going to show after that. So I'm going to drop myself. I'll still be in the Zoom, but I'll hide myself so that we can just all see you. And we'll turn it over to Vic-20. Oh, you guys, this is going to be exciting. All right. I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
And I think we're going to head straight into the first video.
Very cool. Sounds great.
All right, here we go. CES 1981.
There are new rumors that IBM will again go after the home market.
At the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas this past weekend, there's a revolution going on.
Something is happening out there. Something that's expanding your world. Small computers are happening.
Commodore has introduced a new, more powerful...
Imagine, if you will, sitting down to your morning coffee, turning on your home computer.
Commodore and Atari are still battling it out in the low-cost computer wars.
The world's #1 selling home computer is now in a family pack, the Commodore 64.
Computers have become just one more item on the shelves of mass merchandisers like this little Commodore Vic-20 really got the low-cost computer business started with people able to go out and buy a small computer for just a few $100s.
Suddenly, personal computers have become the business of at least 25 manufacturers, with 3 companies, Radio Shack, Apple, and Commodore, grabbing 3/4 of the market.
The whole home computer market is estimated to be worth about...
The managers at two computer outlets say they're selling 5 to 10 systems a week for people who want computers for all kinds of uses.
Atari reportedly coming out in the low 1980.
Americans spent $3.3 billion.
Atari also reportedly
Its home computers, its company, Commodore.
The biggest market that will be the biggest market for the next 3 to 4 years.
Computers are suddenly becoming a factor beyond business.
Overnight, manufacturing personal computers has become a $500 million business.
The future of personal computer developing anticipated as ubiquitous as the telephone.
Watch that. That's where it can start. Those kids are not afraid. They'll use advanced technology that will enrich their lives. They'll understand about the world. They'll just listen.
Computer stores have become the neighborhood soda shops of the binary generation. The disciples, young and old, of smart machines. It's the generation of creating computing and interface age, of small personal computers.
But I think people are really starting to see a real need for home computers.
It produced a low-cost home computer capable of doing more than playing games.
A whole generation is being weaned on computers. Manufacturers say that guarantees that computers will become the household appliance of the near future.
It's about the beginning of the new age, launched by the tremendous force of a revolution. A revolution in communication and information.
computers to perform the data processing functions of today's microcircuits.
Cool. Thanks, Janelle.
That was awesome.
Yay.
So cool. That's such a fun song. Some great videos there too. You told me that someone put that together for you?
Yeah, a friend of mine from Australia named James Peden. I was a guest on his show last year, and he wanted to have a video, kind of like an exclusive video for the show. So he put that together for me. And really super cool guy, very talented singer, musician as well.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. Thank you for sharing that with us here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We also got quite a few comments during it all. Janelle, you
a lot
want
of love.
to catch us up here?
T says the 80s were just cool.
It's true.
And it's so true. Our kids said that video was radical. I like that they used the proper
They've been
80s.
Yeah, they've been trained well.
Slang. Justin said sweet and sick. Like going with the proper usage as well. Justin says there's a stock of photos of abandoned Cold War Russian arcade game machines that he likes to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
And Justin also said Piper recognized Tetris.
Nice.
And just everybody loved it. It was so cool. Oh, April says she has one of those pink cassette tapes.
Nice.
Yes. Hi, April. And T Mancuso in the chat. That's actually my good friend, Tim. He's a saxophone player. He did the live shows with me and does saxophone live with me doing bass and keys. It's really kind of a cool. He makes me way cool.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Very, very cool.
Yes, you got a lot of love and a lot of comments. You'll have to check out.
A lot of shouts out. Okay, excellent, excellent.
Awesome.
So, since we had all that great footage of arcades, I just have to ask, like, what was your go-to arcade game? What's your favorite, like, top 1 or 2 actual arcade cabinets?
I'm always drawn to Galaga.
Classic.
It's like one of the best classic games. And then I love Miss Pac-Man. I love Pac-Man, obviously.
Yeah,
but
that is very cool. We were scoping that out in the background there.
It's actually got Galaga on it too.
Nice. Is that one of those arcade one-ups? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's one of the little tabletop editions.
Okay.
I got it for like $80 and couldn't pass it up.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, I just grew up in that time when, Pong was in the arcade and loved Pong. And then there was a game called Red Baron that you sat into a cockpit and you had these controls and you were like dogfighting. I guess British planes or something. I have fond memories of that in an arcade at Northeast Mall, which is a competitor mall to North Hills Mall. Dang that Northeast Mall, they got North Hills Mall torn down. But yeah, just Asteroids and Missile Command and all those games were just like were go-tos. But Galaga is probably my all-time favorite. If I could only keep one game, it'd probably be Galaga.
Probably Galaga. Mine is Centipede, for the record. I love the trackball. You can't replicate that at home. It's like got to be an arcade cabinet. So
yes,
definitely. Also the Star Wars games, like the old ones with the yoke kind of control there.
Yeah, especially the first one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, I was like, dude, I'm Luke Skywalker right now. This is amazing.
Yeah, you're in the trench. You get to blow up the Death Star. It's fantastic. Absolutely.
This is the best.
Well, Janelle, I saw you like reaching over for one more thing there.
I did.
Something about Red Baron.
Oh, Justin says Red Baron was fire. I'm sorry, not fire. I can read. Red Baron was wireframe Atari vector.
Oh yeah, yeah. Those vector graphics,
terrifying.
they just can't reproduce that without the proper screen anymore. Yeah. And then also,
and then
Justin's here to drop the knowledge.
Yes, Justin knows what's up. T says, "Thanks, Greg. Love playing with you, brother."
Nice.
I love you, bro.
Well, I would be remiss if I did not find out from you, where can we find, if folks here in the chat, they're watching later on, where can we find your music? Where can we buy cool merch, like those colored tapes, like the CDs, etc.? Where can we find all your stuff? And then Janelle's going to drop some links down in the chat as well to get people in the right direction.
Awesome. Yeah, my go-to site for all my merch is the Bandcamp page for Vic-20. I think it's vic20.bandcamp.com.
Sounds right.
And you can also find the cassettes and CDs on eBay. It's funny. I had the idea of putting them on because I sell stuff on eBay for years, you know. And
Right.
I thought I put my music on there, and I get more orders off eBay than I do my Bandcamp page.
Really? How funny.
It's funny because I sell a bunch on Bandcamp when the album first comes out, you know, for a couple of weeks or months or whatever. But like just continually every week, I get an order from eBay, or sometimes it's 3 or 4. One time a guy ordered 5, one of each color, and just you know, who knew eBay had like such a great
I never would have thought. That's funny.
Great place for merch. And then of course my music's on Spotify and iTunes and Google Play and all those fun places as well.
Of course. Although Janelle points out it's not on Instagram. We need to figure out how to get it.
Music for my travel reels.
I don't know how to make that happen, but if you have any ideas, anyone out
there?
Yeah,
I've noticed that recently that it wasn't popping up. So I'll have to look into that.
Right. Janelle makes quite a few reels, so she'll, you know, she has over 10,000 followers on Instagram. I gotta give her a shout out there. So
thanks.
Wowie.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty big deal over here. Awesome. Well, it is a really big deal to me that you came and joined me tonight. Thank you so much for sharing your music and fun stories and all that stuff. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's been a blast. Wish we could stay another hour or two.
Well, we'll have to do it again. You got a new album coming out, so I smell a sequel coming up here.
Yeah, if you want, I could drop like maybe 30 seconds of one of the new songs, kind of give people like a little sneak peek.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Yeah, let's hear it.
Let me pull it up here real quick.
Okay, sneak peek. This is like exclusive, folks. Only here on Pop.vox Presents. So good. I feel like
Awesome.
I'm at the mall.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point.
So
be sure and bring your all your tokens with you and your remember how to sneak into the movie theater and
got my hot dog on a stick. I'm ready to go.
Oh yeah, I got to hit the food court up.
Yep. Check out Sam Goody. That was what we had locally anyway.
Yeah, we had Camelot.
I think
was the name of our
that must have been like regional because like I don't remember that ever.
I think I saw that when I visited Texas.
Yeah, that would make sense.
As a child.
That would make sense. That's awesome. When remind us again, when is the new album coming out?
I don't have a date for it yet. Okay. It'll be end of the year. So I'm shooting for like October, November.
Awesome.
And I guess at this point I could probably throw a Christmas song on there.
yes, that would be fantastic.
Why not?
Cool. Well, we have a Christmas compilation coming out this year, actually. Maybe we'll have to chat after the thing.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Cool. Well, I want to thank you again, and thank you also to all the folks in the chat that were here with us. Any final comments, Janelle?
There are quite a few.
All right, try to just give us like something real quick just to send us off.
So, JR says, I can't wait to hear that. Oh, T. I can't wait to hear that silky smooth sax.
No, yes.
From T. And then T says, looking forward to playing on your next album. And JR said, great show, Phil.
Oh, thank you.
And the kids can't wait for the CD. Melissa says Stranger Things vibes. I'm sure you've been told that. And Justin said, watch Valley Girl last night. The mall scenes are pretty sweet.
Very nice.
And he's excited about an 80s Christmas.
Ooh, yeah.
So
very cool.
And I think that'll 80s do Christmas.
Well, thank you again to everyone who hung out live. Thanks for watching this and joining us. And thank you so much, Vic-20. Greg, thank you for being here tonight. That was awesome.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun. And thank you to all my friends for joining, and April and JR and T and Justin and anyone else that I missed. I think Tracy was here earlier, and
April.
Anyway, yeah, thank you guys for joining.
Awesome. Well, I think that is going to do it for this episode. We are going to wrap it up here. So thanks again for everyone for joining us. And please join us again on another episode of Pop Vox Presents very soon. And that's going to do it for us. Thank you, Janelle, for helping out, as always.
I love doing it.
And we'll see you next time. Can't wait for the new Vic-20 album.
Me either.
Good night, everyone.